Good afternoon, class. My name is Captain Jacqueline with the Edson Fire Department. I've been with Edson for 10 years over now. And today I'll be talking to you about ladders, in-ground ladders. Over this course we'll be talking about, in the objectives, we're talking about ground ladder construction, parts and labels and makings of the ladders, guidelines to handling, and considerations on where you should put your ladder in lifting and lowering. There'll be a written test at the end of this, or a celebration of learning, as some may call it. We're looking for a 75% pass. And after that, we will be going on to the practical version of this course, and we'll have every firefighter show the skills that will be asked upon this in the skills evaluation. So, ground ladders. Why do we need them? Why do we want them? Because we want to help people. They're stuck in a building on a second floor, and on a floor we can't get to, we got to get to them. We got to get up there quickly, so that's why we're here. We're going to learn about ground ladders. So objective 1, describe different construction types of ground ladders. And objective 2 also is identify the parts of a ladder, including markings and labels. So ground ladders construction is regulated by 2 standards in the NFPA, 1931, 1932. Design, 1931, and construction and testing. So, 1931, you have to think of design, construction, and testing specifications. Fire service ladders are similar to the ladders for the private or industrial general use. Similar shapes, sizes, and construction. And are easily capable of supporting heavy loads and providing a greater margin of safety. In 1932, the use, care, and maintenance and service testing. So we have use, like I said before, you can use a ladder for any idea you could probably think of, as long as it works within its specifications. Care, as long as you don't overexert it. And maintenance, ensuring that you take care of it, inspect it once in a while. And the service testing usually is done by a certified personnel that will come in at a cost for the fire service to do a load-bearing test. Folding ladders in services must be able to support 300 pounds, and a single combination extension ladder must be able to support 750 pounds of load. So also, firefighters should know the basics of parts of the ladder. Right here, as you see on the screen, we have got your beams, your rungs, which are your foot placements. You have a hook. This is a hook ladder. Butt spurs, those go on the ground in case there's loose terrain, like little cleats that can dig into the ground if need be. And heat sensors. And in the fire service, you have to have those.
What are they for?
They'll give you an indication if there's any extreme heat been placed on this ladder at any time. You want to check that after use, every use. Basically the sticker shows that right now it's a brown dot. That's in, so it says it hasn't been exposed to any high heat. So it's still good for service. If it goes black, you must take the ladder out of service for it to get tested. Here, we have your ladder paws for an extension ladder. Paws will hold the fly sections in place after they're extended. And then you also have a different ladder. This is more private homeowners ladder because you have the foot pads.
We got that on our big one too.
Okay, some departments have them.
Sticking to the dirt good.
And this is a 3-section extension ladder. You have your beams, it's main structure supports, your rungs, your bed from the lowest, and the lowest is the widest. And you have your butt is in the bottom, right here. And each fly is another section, so you have a section here, and then a section here, so you have 2 flies.
How many people are allowed to be on that ladder?
Well, this size here, you're allowed 1 person per fly. So what are the basic parts of the fire service ladder?
There is the butt, there is the bed, there's the flies, there is your pulleys,
Mm-hmm.
and your cables,
The
halyard cables.
halyard cable, yep.
That's about it. And then your ladder paws for
That's-
pulling your flies in place.
That's correct. So, materials used for ladders must meet NFPA 1931 specifications. So with that, each material has an advantages and disadvantages. And also, weight depends on the material and length. So all materials must meet and designed testing specifications in 1931. Each material has an advantage and disadvantage. So with that being said, what could some of the advantages and disadvantages of materials be? Just an example.
Wood ladders burn,
Okay,
metal ladders melt. Fiberglass ladders will eventually break down from heat.
and fiberglass isn't good with heat.
Eventually they will all melt.
So with that,
Aluminum is definitely lighter than wood.
a little less maintenance,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you have metal, wood, and fiberglass. Advantages also are, least expensive, easy to repair, and there's a lot of sizes with metal and aluminum. Wood ladders, advantages are less likely to conduct electricity or heat, but still do.
Mm-hmm.
Retains its strength when exposed, a little more resistant to heat. And disadvantages cost a lot more
For the metal,
for the wood, sorry.
for the wood, yeah.
Fiberglass, advantages, it's new. It costs less compared to metal,
Mm-hmm.
aluminum ladders. But disadvantages, can suddenly fail when overloaded and will burn to exposed flame. So
Fiberglass will burn.
fiberglass will burn. So again,
One's made out of metal, one's made out of fiberglass.
that's right.
Fiberglass doesn't conduct electricity as well as metal one, does it?
Only no. Only if they're wet though.
Yeah.
Then everything is all the same. Doesn't matter if it's wood, aluminum, or fiberglass. If it's wet,
Electricity runs through it.
electricity will run through it. So fire service ladders must have required markings and labels. Factory or local applications, so NFPA 1931 requires it. Also, local authority having jurisdiction may require it. And also you can use paint, you can indicate the tip or butt. So with that being said, it requires a distinct, requirements or, with the painting it will give you an idea what the length is. And that being said, you do that for nighttime services or daytime, you grab it quickly. So if you know, green is a 10-foot, blue is a 12-foot, and then red is extension, like a 24. You'll learn that within your own service. It also helps them, by painting them, you want to use brighter colors. So, like I said before, a really bright blue or green or red or whatever, it also gives them high visibility. Being on the ground, also being extended up onto a rooftop for smoke, in case they need, firefighters need to look for a secondary egress or a primary. They know where those ladders are. Also, ladders must have certifications by the manufacturer. They're out there, you do not remove them. It's advised that you do not remove them. They have warning labels towards electrical hazards, heat sensors, and giving the person the proper placement, or not the placement of where you put it, but how you would place it. So showing showing exactly how you should be positioning your ladder. Rule of thumb is 4 to 1. For every 4 feet up, you go 1 foot out. Or in this diagram here,
75 degrees.
75 degrees. And by doing so, it's putting your toes of your feet at the base of the ladder, and your arms should be straight on either the rung just slightly above or below in front of you.
What if these stickers aren't on the ladders?
Well, and then you need to, especially the heat sensor, you need to take it out of service until you know for sure that it's still certified.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones are basically just a warning label. But your AHJ does describe that you set up your ladder accordingly to your SOGs or HJs or NFPA. So, review question, what type of markings and labels do fire service ladders have?
Heat sensing markers, warning labels for electricity conductivity, and last one is proper placement of ladder.
Right. Alright, objective 3, describe safety guidelines, using and handling ladders. Also with objective 4, explain considerations taken when selecting, lifting, and lowering ladders. So there's several ladder safety guidelines firefighters should know. Having developed upper body strength due to lifting, operating according to SOPs, what you can and cannot do within your own departments. You have to have full PPE when operating. That being said, depending on what your department states as if it was training, it was hot out, as long as you have your helmet, gloves, steel toe boots, or bunker pants at the time. Of course, that'd be up to the discretion of the instructor, the officer in charge, if you needed to wear a jacket. But you should, because ladders are still somewhat dirty, even if they don't look dirty.
Coveralls should be fine.
Coveralls are sufficient also. Guidelines also include choosing the correct ladder. You don't want to pick up a 36-foot ladder, take it to a single-story roof and have to, because it's a little heavy and you don't want to have to huff that around for no reason. Using your leg muscles when lifting can be very exertive, especially if you do have to grab that 36-footer or the 40-footer.
Bangler.
Or a Bangor if you had one still in the service. Yeah. Use adequate number of personnel. Career departments, they always have your minimum allowance of firefighters on call. At one time, volunteers a little more different. You know, who's coming, who's showing up or not. So, being in physical fit, you want to be able to know how many people you can do it with or without. And also, being away from the power lines, ensure that you look above to your sides. 360 of your whole self, knowing where the line is. So do not raise within 10 feet or 3 meters. For us in Alberta here, it's 7 meters. Good morning, ladder Fires coming in contact with power source may result in electrocution of anyone in contact with the ladder, or anyone within the vicinity of the ladder, especially. Several ladder safety guidelines firefighters should know. Secure the tip and anchor the foot.
Tie off the top,
Why do you wanna do that?
so the ladder doesn't bugger off on you.
So you don't have to have a person manning that ladder. The whole time someone's up there doing work on the roof.
So if it's secured at the top, you're not required to have, or if you tied it off at the top and tied it off at the bottom, you don't need a butt man anymore?
You can you don't need one, but you also let the crews know that it's secured.
Yeah.
But with that being said, you also, if you know that the crews are coming down, it doesn't hurt to even have a person that's manning the ladder at the base, regardless if it's tied off or not. And that with that, SOGs. You always want to check for a proper angle, so the base doesn't slip out. Going back to the little label on the side of the ladder, or remembering your 90 degree. 75, sorry. That's 90 degrees. My head. 75 of what the label states. Ensure the hooks of the prawls are seated over the rungs. They're in a locked position. Can't have one locked and one not. You want to have them both. Ensure it's stable before climbing. You want to be a little weak in the knees when you get halfway up and it starts moving side to side on you, because the base of the ladder was uneven. One was touching the ground and the other one wasn't, just slightly. 2 inches will make a difference. And then you use caution in moving sideways. There again, you don't want to reach too far over. Climb smoothly. That reduces the bouncing of the ladder. Never overload. There again, one firefighter per fly. So why would you use a leg lock?
On a ladder?
On a ladder.
Keep yourself stable and in one position and your hands free, and not have to worry about falling off the ladder.
Okay. Other ways you can do it is a ladder belt. Each department's different. And then when you're able to do so, and if you can relocate when ordered. You can do that because you don't also want to work without the reach sleeve. Overreaching. If you have to overreach, you have to come down and move your ladder. You only use your ladder for the intended purpose.
Rescue.
Just to rescue. Now after doing so, come back to the hull. You want to inspect for damage, wear and tear after each use. So your SOGs will state what it is you use for a cleaning solvent. Maybe pressure washer or soap and bucket and brush, scrub brush. You want to make sure that you're looking for any cracks, any worn rungs, loose rungs, heat signatures on the ladder itself, check those labels, those little heat tabs. And also you wanna, when you're using it, you wanna secure the foot for any intended ladder to a stationary object. For us, we have outside the hull, we have posts that protect the edges of the bay doors. If you were to set up a ladder there, you could use that. But you don't wanna use it as tying it off to lawn ornament decorations.
Something stable.
It wants to be secured and stable. Warning, sliding down ladder either feet first or head first, even in an emergency, is an unsafe and may result in serious injury or death. Now, we've all seen it on videos and how you can train to properly evac a building or off a roof, depending on the severity. And they've shown you how to do it if you're going head first, but that is the last resort. You do not want to do that ever. So guidelines, firefighters you should know. Raise safely and smoothly. Speed may be required due to the severity, especially if there's a possible rescue and someone's at a windowsill yelling for help. You want to be able to get the ladder into position and extended as quickly as possible. Teamwork is also important, so we need to train. And when training comes, being done smoothly and safely. Proficiency. There again, teamwork. Working together, getting it done. All for the same reason. What are the guidelines for safety carrying, raising, and lowering working ladders? Just two of them.
Try not to work alone.
Yeah,
Smooth operations,
sure.
carry smoothly, raise it smoothly. Teamwork.
Alright. What's going on? Methods for ladders, raises require teamwork and smoothness and rhythm. So, depending on the type and size, are you able to do it by yourself? Number of personnel. There again, are you able to do it by yourself? Pretty sure you're not gonna be able to carry a 36-foot extension ladder all by yourself.
I think you would a good go.
And weather conditions. Snowing, raining, icy conditions, muddy, wet, topographic, or hill, going uphill, downhill, side of a hill. So, several considerations must be addressed before raising a ladder. Always look around, especially in any environment, if you're going between homes, and you're unsure if there's power lines or not, always look. Up, down, and around, as I say.
360.
Do your 360. With this example here, shown with a two-person looking up. And they're gonna put the ladder right up into those lines.
Mm-hmm.
So your alternative would be,
Side lift.
what kind of lift is that? It's called a beam lift. And this one here is a flat lift. Warning, all ladders will conduct electricity, especially when wet, regardless of their construction materials.
Mm-hmm.
Several considerations must be addressed before raising a ladder. Looking in this picture, you see is a two-section ladder, two people,
Mm-hmm.
and a three-section ladder here, wood, with three people. So having the right amount of people to do the job is gonna be more effective than struggling. Tying it off after you extended it. Doing it properly. Flat lift, beam lift. One person or two person.
Mm-hmm.
So what considerations must be addressed before raising a ladder?
Whether it requires more than one person to raise it,
Yep.
and knowing where you're setting it up, the ground, the weather conditions, the power lines, everything, just being aware of your surroundings before you
Okay.
stand up.
And knowing if you have enough people to do the job effectively. All right. Now we'll, summary. Ground ladders are an essential tool used to access levels above and below ground levels. You must know the types of ground ladders your department uses and parts of the construction materials and how to care and maintain for them. You must be able to select and place them effectively to gain access to perform your assigned tasks. You must also know the correct methods for safely climbing, working from, and assisting victims down ground ladders. Now that concludes our theory portion of ladders. We're going to be handing out the tests for your celebration of learning. Sure, you put your name on the top. This will not be an open book assignment. It'll be 10 questions. You have up to 10 minutes to finish the exam. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. All right, starting time. part of the room. Everyone else is still finishing.
Good job, sir.
You're all done? Okay. You wanna come back? So I will, check your tests in, with completion if you were to, I have your email address, I will send you your test scores as soon as you complete a survey of my instructional survey.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.